Yeah, y'all, it's your boy Philadelphia Freeway, and you tuned in to King's Court with my man DJ Hustle.
Yo, this your boy Trick Daddy Dollars, and I'm in King's Court with my dog DJ Hustle.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is B.O.B. and right now you're locked in the King's Court. And my brother from another, DJ Hustle.
That's the first half after high school up through college. Now we're gonna go to 1999. You got a partner named Kamikaze. Y'all got a group called Crooked Letters. Take us there.
This was the painful thing about Crooked Letters was that we were supposed to get 4.5, 5 mics in the Source. And I had a really cool friend at the Source, man, and there's this guy from XXL at the time who really, I believe it was XXL, rap pages, one out. It's getting cloudy. Most of that stuff.
Source?
No, it was definitely the Source, what I was going to tell you, but I was trying to remember what other magazine it was. It was 2 people that was really supporting us, but I don't remember if it was XXL or not. I don't even know if they were. I don't even think they were around at the time, but it was some other magazine. Anyway, the Source, definitely. The Source, we were, and people don't know this, we were unsigned hype in the Source. I remember arguing with Kamikaze, because like, man, them motherfuckers don't fuck with us, dog. I'm like, just send the motherfucker. Like, again, like I told you before, if they say no, we just in the same place. But they ended up loving our demo. We ended up getting unsigned hype in the Source. Then we ended up getting signed to Penalty, which Noriega was on. And we were supposed to get 4.5, 5 mics, but there was a Def Jam artist that came out the same year who the Source didn't like their album, but Def Jam gave more money to advertising it than Penalty did. So they couldn't justify to Def Jam why, you know, an unknown group from Mississippi gets 4.5 mics, 5 mics. It was the politics, and it was crazy because Crooked Letters was a very special group, bro. And one of the problems was, and people don't admit this, white folks look at us and think we niggas. So if they can't put us in the box, then they get nervous and they don't know how to invest their money properly. Crooked Letters was a smart, very smart group with a gangster edge at a time when the South wasn't hot yet. So people didn't know what to do. Well, they not no crazy ass niggas, but then they ain't no punks. And they smart as shit. You know what I'm saying? My rap partner, Kamikaze, may be one of the dopest lyricists that I've heard in a very, very long time. And with my aggression and my Hulk-like push, with his diamond-like lyricism, with my beats, was awesome, man. And we had bad management. Crooked Letters ended up just being this group that was heard about in the wind. But what it did was, I was in New York homeless at the time because they shelved Crooked Letters. And I was sleeping on Wendy Day's floor. And it taught me, like, I learned New York aggression, because it's funny, Southerners are more business-minded. They want to run companies and labels, but they don't have that initial hustle. Get out on the street team, flyers, picketing, and all of that kind of shit. But New Yorkers would do that to get a fucking deal. And again, Martin Malcolm, it's sort of right in the middle. So what I did was I took all the shit that I learned from the street teams and living in New York homeless, and I took that shit back to Mississippi and opened up my independent company, and it started with $100. I started with $100. At the time, you could get CDs made for $1 a piece. I pressed up 100 CDs, sold them at $10 a piece, made 1,000. Never bought no weed, stopped smoking and stopped drinking for this purpose. Bought 1,000 CDs then, sold them out on the corners, like literally on the block hustling. Because this is something that I don't talk about much. and I know we'll get to that part. I prayed to God that if he would allow me to make it without having to sell dope or to be funded by dope, then I'll praise his name. And that's why I made Cadillac on 22. We'll talk about that.
So it said CD that you pressed up 100, because I was about to get to 2000, the Firewater Boys mixtape. Your first mixtape.
That was an album.
That's an album?
Yeah, because we got to be clear. We say mixtapes, and mixtapes is when you take other people's music. Folks be making whole albums. That was an album. If you got all original music with all the original lyrics, you mix, it's an album. We say mixtape so we won't feel so bad about giving all of this shit away for free. We the only culture that gives away our culture for free and don't hold people accountable for, oh, that was an album. But yeah, Firewater Boys, that's when I moved back to Mississippi from New York after I had dropped out. Because I dropped out of the University of Maryland a semester and a thesis away from my master's. When people talk about me having all this education, they act or infer that I did it recently. No, I did that before I was David Banner. You feel what I'm saying? The education aspect of it. Another thing that people don't know is that I was 28 when Like a Pimp came out. Everybody thought I was 4, 5 years old or some shit like that, bro. I was grown in the motherfucker. And I actually thank God for that because I was so focused, dude. That's one thing that I'm grateful for. When I put my eye on something, it's nothing but death can stop me. My mom told me that. My mom said, you need to start dreaming bigger because everything you have ever told me, I'm not lying to you about this, bro. This is real talk. If I see a girl, I can be in China. And if I see a girl and I feel in my heart that she mine, I walk away, go all the way back to America. And every person I've ever felt that way have come right back to me. It's when you vibrating on the right level and you know the God that's inside of you, bro, everything will come to you. Our brains and our mind is an antenna. We just don't know how to use it. I think once we got into religion and we cut ourselves from the umbilical cord that's called Africa, that we don't know how to use that higher level of God that's in us, bro. It's never been anything that I've set out to do. The problem is now is there's nothing that hip-hop used to be exciting. Bro, I was enamored with hip-hop and music. And Erykah Badu was the one that talked to me about this, bro. When I saw what the music industry was really about, and I think Dave Chappelle talks about this in Hollywood, I saw hip-hop's ass. I saw the music industry's asshole. I saw what it really was about, and it broke my heart. But to go back to, what were we at there? Firewater Boy?
Yeah, the mixtape, 2000.
The album. Yeah, we sold, bro, I know I sold over 20,000, 30,000 copies of that album. Just like hand to hand.
That was the album that had Like a Pimp.
No. It didn't have. What happened was Like a Pimp was supposed to have been on Mississippi, the album, the one that came out. That was actually supposed to be my Next Street album. This is what people don't know about it. What's the name of the big magazine that comes out about music? The big white magazine. The other one. Give me one more.
Rolling Stone?
Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone said that my Mississippi, the album, was probably one of the best albums of that year. And I remember them picking out a line from the song Mississippi. They said, this is one of the most powerful lines in a rap song. I'm from a place, and when I wrote this, I didn't mean for it to be this deep. It said, I'm from a place where a flag means more than me. Like now that I'm older, because at the time I was just mad and just fuck all these white folks, fuck America. That's what I was on at the time. And but I was like, damn, that was deep as fuck. I was just writing, you know what I'm saying? But what happened is that Firewater Boys was it had such a different sound. I think because I was in the hip hop And I was one of the few cats that sampled, you know what I'm saying? Flip samples and chop samples, but still had that Southern feel, you know. And mine was just a little bit, I think my music was, because of course Organized did it at a level that I may never be done again. But I could say mine was a little bit more aggressive because I was a little bit angry. You know what I'm saying? I was a lot angry. And I think it broke my heart that it didn't do what I thought it was supposed to do. And the thing is, I even feel that way about the God Box. When I give somebody something, or when I decide I want to be a part of a project, I give everything but my spirituality and my manhood. I heard a dude told me one time, like, Banner works harder than James Brown. Like, I worked that fucking, like, I was telling somebody, I've been to Jackson and Atlanta so many times that I think I've stopped on every exit from here to Mississippi. That's how many times. I used to go back and forth to Atlanta like twice a week. You feel what I'm saying? Like, back and forth. So, like, when I done Firewater Boys, I didn't know what else to do. But what happened was, what made me do Mississippi the album was because I was wondering why the Firewater Boys had stopped selling. And somebody told me everybody that knows about it, they bought it. Like, I couldn't sell it on the street no more. Everybody, you know how people be like, dog, I already got that. But real life, when you out there on the streets, same way with your followers, if you really on Twitter like that, you know your real followers, and then they walk up to you, you be like, oh shit, what's happening? I ain't talking about the DM girls that y'all talking about. I'm talking about the real fans. But like, that's what happened, and that's what pushed me to make Mississippi the album. And I want to tell you something that's crazy that people don't know. That was the album for me that went gold. It was supposed to go platinum, but I put out, which I believe is my only real mistake that I would take back, would be my Baptized in Dirty Water album. I would take that back, because Mississippi the album could have been 2 times platinum. But I dissipated because I was trying to be too aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, you see Master P and them putting out records, but the only difference is I'm both of them. I'm Beats by the Pound and Master P. Like, I could kill these fools. And what I didn't know at the time is most of the Southern groups were tax write-offs. They didn't really want us to be successful. They was moving us out of the way of their major acts. So they gave us all more money than we had saw in one sitting, but we didn't see like how much money we were generating together. Like, just think about me, Flip, Slim Thug, Pastor Troy, South Park Mexicans, all of these people at the same time, what our numbers were, put them together. We was killing it. Getting them checks from Southwest Distribution and Gonzalez, what? You know, but shit, a motherfucker flashing 10 million in your face, when you really only gonna get maybe you might see 1.5 million, but yeah.
So then we get to 2003. Rubber Band Man production. That was crazy. You dropped both albums. But take us back to when you moved to Atlanta. You was some people might not know you lived out of your van. You had a studio in the back.
I lived out of my van and had a studio. But we also, because people didn't know who David Banner was, we also have to put in that Thug Holiday from Trick Daddy. Like, I produced that too. So like, those two, I'll tell you a really sad, this is a sad story about Atlantic Records. So, I had done, within about a physical year's time or a little bit more, I had done their 2 biggest urban records. I did Thug Holiday for Trick Daddy, then I did Rubber Band Man for T.I. I had my second album, which was Baptized in Dirty Water, because we think that's a long span of time, but it wasn't, because remember, I put them albums out back to back. I had this song called Pretty Pink with T.I. on it. was that, and Jazzy Faye had produced it. It was so jamming. Craig Love was on the guitar. Atlantic wasn't even clear for T.I. to be on that song. That was one of the things that really made me start back going to my independent mind state. We don't think about it in this terms, but we say that we free, and we got all these fancy cars, but we can't even put out a fucking record with our homeboy. Tip was my homie at the time. Well, still my homie, but I mean, we're speaking about encapsulating it in the time. Dog, like, I can't have a record out with my homie? Like, them white folks got enough power. And you really can't blame a black man because we come from such impoverished situations that we really just trying to get that pain off our ass. And I always say I understand, because how can you tell a kid to dream when he doesn't have a bed to sleep in? You feel me? So anyway, moving forward, Mississippi the album, Rubber Band Man, all of that came out. I'm gonna tell you the blessing it was the blessing, and this was during the time I met Miss Regina, and I don't know if y'all remember Mr. DJ. He was the DJ for Outkast. This man set me down, and he told me, he said, "Do you know what publishing is?" And I was like, no, because I've been one of the dudes that I may be smart in one area, but if I don't know, I say I don't know. No, homeboy, I don't know what that shit is. He's like, listen. He said, I'm gonna make it simple for you. He said, if you're making money now, don't sell your publishing. He said, there's something that's called an admin deal. Just ask for an admin deal. He didn't say nothing else. And with these kids, it's the same way. You can't give them so much information that it makes them afraid or it makes them feel dumb. So anytime people would ask me about publishing, because I was producing, so I wasn't as hungry after I blew up, because of course, up until that point, I was homeless. You know what I'm saying? Sleeping in the van, I know because he was talking about, I had built a studio inside of my van. I went to Walmart and got one of those, what do you call the things that switches over to electricity? Anyway, I plug it in and then I could plug all my studio. Yeah, I went and got a generator. And this is why I tell these kids that there's no excuse, especially with the technology that you had. I was homeless, didn't have a place to sleep. And I was homeless by choice. I want to be clear about that, because a lot of people play up the homeless stuff like, I was homeless and now I'm rich. No, I studied something and realized there's two types of people that usually makes it in society. It's totally rich people who can just put their children in positions, or, hey, bro, go holler at this person and you'll be straight. Or there's a totally broke person who either they're going to be successful, like Master P, or they're going to die. So those are the types of people. And middle class people they usually have a crutch. They're not willing to make sacrifices or take chances because they're so happy with the little bit of bullshit that these white folks done gave them. You feel me? So I was middle class, and I knew I didn't know anybody that was rich at the time. So I said I was going to throw myself into extreme poverty. So either I would make it, because you got to think, I had a degree. I could have went back and got my degree. I've always been fucking beautiful. So I had women that I could sleep with. I could have bummed off of and slept with, women wanted to be around me because, I've always been a fly fuck. But I literally put myself in that crucible for a reason, because I don't believe this. I don't believe if you give everything that you have that the universe will let you fail. I don't believe that. Now, you may not get what you are looking for because that may not be what's for you, but I put everything. Bro, I've always wanted 7, 8, 9 children. I don't have no children. I'm one of the few men who admit I've always wanted to be married. I think you're more successful, more focused when you have one person. You don't have to dissipate your energy. You feel me? I heard 50 Cent was talking about that. I was so proud that he said that he talked about that, because most men are not honest enough to say, like, dude, when you got all of these different people pulling from you, it's hard for you to totally move in one direction. So I threw myself into poverty. And Everything that I had in my life, in that van was stolen in Birmingham. Alabama. And it's funny, that's one of my major markets now. And I asked one of the dudes on the streets, this really happened when I was going for a God box release. I was like, dawg, why y'all fuck with me like y'all do? Dude said, we feel like we owe you. Everything I had in my life was stolen in Birmingham. And when I signed that big deal with Steve Rifkin, I happened to be going through Birmingham, and I signed my deal in Birmingham. Like 4 months later, about 4 months later, in the Kinko's in Birmingham. What's the set? That's totally serendipity. You know what I mean?
All right, so we're gonna move to 2005.
This actually feels good. I've never done this before. I feel like therapy, huh? Yeah.
You gonna cry when you get in the car?
Oh, no, I ain't gonna cry. I ain't gonna cry. Yes, I am. I might. Regina, hold me!
We'll bring some emotion out. So
Yeah.
2005, you released Certified. You know, you had the second single was Play, so take us through.
So let me tell you something. Now, from my first album up until right before the God Box, I don't remember most of that stuff. I was so depressed. So I'm gonna give you something,
That's fine.
but I don't know if it's gonna be accurate because I was so depressed. I was so high.
Why were you depressed?
You're
famous now.
Yeah, but the thing is, I was alone. And I didn't know no rich people. I didn't know about taxes. I didn't know about. See, everybody want to be famous, but the thing that they don't know is you can't turn it off. Like somebody said it one time, once you're famous, you can't turn it off. You can become infamous, but like everybody watching you, you can't creep. You can't do shit. You know, and I'm not saying that there's not any asshole artists. Maybe most of them are assholes. Who knows? But I do know a lot of people think artists change, but they don't notice what they doing to make them change. I'll never forget, I used to love, there's this club in Jackson, Mississippi, it's called a Birdland. Super dangerous, but it's been there. Like it's Jackson, Mississippi. I remember I used to love coming home and just going into Birdland and eating and being amongst real people. You know what I'm saying? And I remember the day I went into Birdland and it went from me being the hunter to me being the hunted. I remember the day walking in there and people looking at me to see if I had gotten any weaker. You know what I'm saying? Try to see, you know, okay, well, this might, you know, we love banning shit. You do it for the hometown, but fuck, I'm hungry, my nigga. You know, and I come from that. And I remember that feeling. You know what I'm saying? I remember, like, people being afraid of me. And now, like, I never, because a lot of my homeboys say that if I was any weaker than what I was, it would have been a lot harder for me. But I always been big. I always knew how to fight, and I always had guns. Still to this day, keep pistols. What's the first thing I said when I came here, Regina? Well, my pistol at, I ain't never been in here before.
Hey, you got to.
You know what I'm saying? I feel a little bit better now. You know what I'm saying? But I said that. I was like, yo, like, I ain't never been in here before. Give me my pistol. But a lot of those days, man, I was just hurting, man, and was confused. You know, because the music industry, bro, is so parasitic. I wouldn't wish the music industry on. Dave Chappelle said it, man. He's like, these are not weak people, bro. But when you see, you know, Mariah Carey pulling out a titty, it's a reason. It's something that don't go along with black people in this industry. You know what I'm saying? Give a fuck who you are. So those times I really don't remember, man. And then I was so medicated. You know what I'm saying? I was so high, bro. But the cool thing is I was such a good person. Even in my worst, most ratchet days, I've always been respectful in my dealings with people. My music, I wouldn't quite say it was so respectful, but I've always been a good people. And I even realize to this day, I think people fuck with me more than they do my music. And that used to hurt me. Because I really believe I'm great. I do. I don't believe it's too many people. You know, that's why I applaud Crit. That's why I applaud Kanye. You know, it's not too many men, DJ Quick, that you could take and put them in the studio by themselves with nobody else, and they come out with an album. They may not be the best lyricists, they may not be the best producers, but it ain't too many men on this. Prince, which I think was the zenith level of that. You know what I'm saying? So I went through so much, and I was telling Regina this morning about how I'm so grateful to God for all the pain that I went through, because I was working on a big deal this morning, and she was like, damn, like, you did that. And like, I negotiate with Gatorade. I'm talking about with their lawyers. I'll tell you this real quick, then we move back to moving through my life. I remember, you know, when I really started learning business, because one of the ways I started learning business, believe it or not, was through LegalZoom. I would go to LegalZoom and I would pull all these different contracts and read through them. And when I would get to words or phrases that I didn't understand, when I went to see my lawyer, since they charged so much, I would have all of my questions on a sheet of paper. So then I would ask them all the questions. Since you're charging this much an hour, we dealt with the business, I still got 15 minutes on my hour, let's go. So we would go through all that shit and I would learn it. So what I would do was, when I was negotiating for I don't mind fucking up when I'm negotiating for myself. But like when I'm giving other people knowledge, I have to be ass on. So I would real live be negotiating. Sometimes I really didn't grasp the concept, but I would just throw the word out there. And then white folks would be like, I didn't know that. And then I learned the term drop dead date. Start using these drop dead dates. So where if they sign the contract, you sign the contract, and it says in the contract that if you don't have my money by this date, then you owe me. One time I got, I think, $10,000 for a company not delivering my check on the right day. We just got to get to know our business. We're not just the fine print, it's just knowing it, period. Because have you ever noticed, especially when we're dealing with contracts, especially with record labels, they have 450 pages about what you're supposed to give them. But they have 2 pages about what they're supposed to do for you, and it's real cloudy. And what we don't understand is they have lawyers that work for them every day. That's why I don't believe most of these lawyers, and I'm not talking about just music lawyers, I don't believe most of these lawyers, I think most of the lawyers are crooked. I never said this before ever, because I started realizing that these record labels will go back and pay your lawyer. You can't give your lawyer but $2,000-$3,000. They can give them $10,000, and they wouldn't necessarily outright fuck you, but they would make sure that the balance of the scales would definitely lean towards the labels. You feel what I'm saying? So you don't know, because even in me dealing with Gatorade, I remember, I was just telling Regina, I just now found 2 lawyers. One is a black lawyer, one black male lawyer, and one is a black female lawyer, and they're both in Atlanta. And that was the first time I really felt like I trusted a lawyer, you know what I'm saying? And I still check their ass just to make sure. But I remember me negotiating with Gatorade, and through LegalZoom, I found out some words and some terms, and I went back and told my lawyer. He was like, oh yeah, I forgot. How the fuck you? I ain't a lawyer, and I can negotiate this shit better than you, and I pay your monkey ass. You know what I'm saying? You better get the fuck out of here, boy. I choke you. I turned back into the old days, better for a minute, then I had to tuck it back in. But we'll continue moving though. Certified, I was high, drunk in Atlanta, trying to figure out how to navigate myself through life. No real meaningful relationships. I was a workaholic. I worked almost 18 hours a day, every day. And I believe it came from, I didn't really start believing in myself until about 4 years ago. I really, in my heart, thought I was lucky, that I was from Mississippi, and that I was gonna have to work my ass off to stay where I was, instead of pacing myself, knowing who I was, and knowing my worth. You know what I mean? And I think the record labels really pimped that, cause like I work radio myself. I wrote up in a lot of cases. Me and my girlfriend at the time wrote up just like the whole outline for how my records was gonna be dropping and shit, because I was dating a girl from New York at the time. And it was just cloudy. Plus, the pressure of the streets. Like, that's the thing that black artists have to deal with that other artists, well, I can't say other artists, but definitely white artists don't have to deal with in the same way. You know what I'm saying? Being able to navigate yourself, especially when you come from the streets. And most artists don't really want to deal with that aspect. It's a lot of pressure, you know what I'm saying? So one of my biggest problems at that time is I was everything. I had all the guns. I produced everything. I wrote everything. I was fucking tired. I remember, like, right before that album is when I got rid of them. You know how everybody got their big clicks? Like, I got rid of everybody. Because I remember being in New York, man, everybody drinking and smoking, having a good time. They wouldn't even come up with a hook or banner. Look, this the hot shit that we heard in the club while we was out. I remember staying up 2 days and my homeboys going to sleep at least 3 times before I went to sleep. You feel what I'm saying? And that's when I realized, bro, you got to get people around you that want to help you and not just go for the ride. Like, if you my homeboy, you a cameraman, that's cool, but you're gonna have to add something to it. And so I got rid of everybody. I told everybody, fuck off. Because if I'm gonna do all the fucking work, y'all can't even write a fucking hook, give me a dope line. Give me something that you saw. Something. You feel what I'm saying? And, you know, that's one of my few criticisms is everybody want to get put on. I never wanted to be put on. I just want you to open the door for me. I do everything else. You know, one of the things I remember, and this really happened, I remember Snoop Dogg telling me one time, because me and Snoop used to stay in the same building. And when I was living in LA, Snoop said, Banner, you close to me than most of my family. And I was like, why, He said, you the only one that ever asked me how I'm doing. You know, I always notice if you want to get close to somebody, don't ask them for something, give them something. Carry some fucking bags, wash your fucking car. Only women should want to get put on. I don't know a man that I want to retain some of my fucking manhood. You feel what I'm saying? So like, I just got rid of everybody for the most part. Except, you know, and made one of my little homeboys that was helping me, I made him my manager. And we rocked out, bro, for like, 3 years, man. But one thing I want to say as we finish this up that I do thank God for is I may not have 10 of them, but I once a year pull a hit out my ass. Like, I don't give a fuck what's the situation. I can make 39,000 of them bitches, but I can give you one that's gonna go to top 10. Every year I always gave, whether it was for somebody else or for me, I always had a hot one, like one hot one, bro. And every year of my life, bro, when stuff was about to get bad, man, between the grace of God and me and my spirit and my openness to allow that to work through me, bro, we always cooked us up one. Because right before Play, and I don't know if people remember this, right when Play started blowing is when Katrina happened. And I want y'all to really go look at this so y'all won't think I'm shooting y'all no shit. When Katrina happened and Play was like the #1 record, I didn't push my album one time. Every time I got in the front of a camera, it was about Katrina. And it was about helping other people. And God taught me a lesson doing that, man, because I took out the whole year of my life when I could have been touring and I could have been making money off Play. I gave 85% of my life to Katrina and Katrina victims. But after that was over, DJs, everybody, they were like, all right, well, we'll be waiting for you when you have another hit. Like, I thought people were going to kick in for me. No, I thought they was going to kick back in for me because I did what I thought was right. But God taught me that's why you do things for the right reason. If you really a man and you doing what's right, there shouldn't be any pats on the back. It shouldn't be no congratulations for doing what the fuck you supposed to do. You are alpha male. You are the guardian of your community and for your people. You shouldn't want nothing back. It means you're a fucking whore. if you want payment for what you're supposed to do every day. You feel what I'm saying? Like, pussy's supposed to be free, technically, you know, to a certain degree. But shit, you pay for it, then whatever it is. I don't mean females. I mean just a whore in general. And that's what God showed me. But the inverse to that was that made me bigger than hip hop.
It did, because in 2006, you were awarded the Visionary Award by the National Black Caucus for your Hurricane Katrina efforts.
People started respecting me. And it's crazy because it's similar to how I feel about the kids in the hood. All those trophies and shit is cool. But when you fucked, I was fucked up, bro. You know, I wasn't fucked up like I used to be, but like the bread wasn't coming in like it was at first, bro. You feel me? And I really wasn't getting no help. And I had my best friend at the time, and I can't say too much because I don't ever want her to be put in a peculiar situation. But another person from another label really believed in me, and they started helping me. No charge, you know, and she sort of helped navigate my life back on track. And to this day, like, if she ever needed anything, I'd die for her. You know what I'm saying? It took somebody from another label. She could have lost her job, but she's like, I believe in your mission. And that's something real funny about women. Women can see us better than we see ourselves. That's why, like, people, a woman to go get this dude and everybody think he corny and all her friends laughing at him. All right. Then she whipping that, you know what I'm saying, that big boy, you know, and she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, that I ended up growing. It was so sad because when we stopped being friends just recently, not like best friends, we're still friends, it made me feel bad. Like, when I put the God Box out, the God Box is what me and her had always talked about. And for me to do it and do it on the level that I did it 100% independent, you feel me? With all my money, period. Like, it was a bittersweet moment because the woman that helped me during the Katrina time couldn't be around during the manifestations of what we were trying to build. But to move the story forward, that was real hard. What people don't know about that time doing Why Play was out, all the stuff that we had, like all the stuff 50 Cent donated, all the stuff Tip and Jeezy donated, and all the people who donated for what I was doing for Katrina, all that stuff went to my mom's house. And we was living and all that stuff. And I didn't know how to run a non-for-profit. I was just using my heart. That's what I tell people today, like, hey, I help you find, like, I don't run non-for-profits. That's what it taught me. But we did a great job, and thanks to Nelly, people don't know this, I wasn't set up properly for the government. So Nelly allowed me to use his company as my umbrella company. You feel what I'm saying? And I ran my company doing Katrina through Nelly's corporation until I was able to get the proper paperwork to work as a non-for-profit group. So that's what was happening during. I remember that. See, when you got enough pain on your ass, it all come back for a minute.
We're going to move to 2007. You sat in front of Congress. You had a quote. I can admit there are some problems in hip hop, but it's only a reflection of what's taking place in our society. Hip hop is sick because America is sick. So take me through that time. Were you nervous before going and speaking?
So this is the funniest shit ever. One of my best friends in the world is named Edward Muhammad. It's funny because if they ever make a movie without me or about me, if he's not all the way through the movie, then something ain't right about that movie. Because he was with me when I was SGA president. He was my head of security then. And he was with me right next to me when I was running. And he's my head of security now. And it's so crazy, he's about to be a doctor. And the only reason why he went to security school, because he said, I don't believe none of the motherfuckers out there love you like I do. I don't think nobody can defend you like I do. And I had to pause and say his name, and I say a lot of people's name because I think in so many cases people look at David Banner when I am a conglomerate or a synthesis of so many great people. You feel what I'm saying? But I want to tell you what happened. He was living in D.C. at the time, and I wasn't scared, like initially. I was just out there, we about to fight for our people. And he pulled me to the side. He was like, say, brother, say, because he's Muslim, say, brother, let me talk to you for a minute, brother. He said, do you know these are some of the greatest thinkers in the world, and you are about to debate about our First Amendment rights. You got the you got the spirit of the people on your back. How does it feel? And I was like, shit, I was all right before you said that bullshit. Then I got nervous. I was nervous as shit. But it's no different than a show. I believe if you're not nervous, and I heard Will Smith say this, if you're not nervous, then you're not doing big enough shit. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be nervous. And God, it says that you're not supposed to have a spirit of fear. It doesn't say that you're not supposed to be scared. Oh, you're scared for a reason. If it's time for you to get if it's a fire and you're not scared, go ahead and sit your black ass there in. Don't move if you want to. Your ass gonna burn up. Like it's in you for a reason. But as soon as I got out there, I'm gonna tell you when you get afraid. Matter of fact, I'm gonna ask you a question. Have you ever seen a nervous or unhappy giver? I mean, a person that gives all the time. Have you ever seen that? No, you haven't. You want to know why? Because it's not about them. We only get nervous or scared when we think about us. That's ego. But once you realize that you're fighting for a greater cause that is bigger than you, then there's no fucking fear. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's the spirit of God to me. So, like, once I got out there and felt like it was about the people, and then something that I've always been great at this. I remember, man, going into this big church one time. Well, not a church, it was this religious place. And they would said, you have to do this or this because the so-and-so person is about to walk out. I was like, I don't believe in what you believe in. No, I'm not. I'm not sitting with my back to the door. You're not going to tell me what to do. I respect that I'm in your place and I'm going to act accordingly, but no, none of y'all motherfuckers run me. Like, once I realized, like, dude, the reason why most people want you to believe in their religion or they want you to be a part of their group is so that they can control you. But if you're not a part of that group, let me tell you this is something real. I really believe this. Person asked me one time, do I play chess? Or do I play chess, excuse me. And I said, no. I said, but what if the real game is to convince you all that you're enemies and have you play on my board while I'm out here working? What if it ain't about the game at all? What if the big distraction is to have you two to work and as I control the whole entire board? I even thought about this. I have a new idea. If I tell y'all this, then it won't be dope, but whether it happened, you couldn't stop it anyway. But it's something that I have that I want to create that nobody has seen before. So I'm thinking about creating the product and creating its competition. So I'll own both sides. People won't know it. I'll be a silent partner in this one. But I said, imagine it. Instead of me just creating, I create the competition first, the two, and control the whole board. Yeah, well, but when I was in Congress, like, that's what I thought about. Like, dude, white folks have set the game up. Like, even the word ghetto, they know ghetto was an experiment. You put any group of animals in a constricted area and give them limited resources, they're gonna tear each other apart. So even within America calling it a ghetto, you know what you're doing. So don't act surprised when we act a certain way. You go, we don't have no money? You gonna put some dope in front of me and think I'm not gonna sell it? For real? Then, hold on, same thing. Then you gonna set up the jails for profit? For real? Are you serious? So that's what I'm talking about, the chessboard. You're setting up both sides of the game. But the problem is with Black America is that we want to be white so bad that we don't even pay attention to what's going on. Like that, to me, I lecture 2-3 times a week sometimes, if not 4 times a week, on a great week. And that's really what I lecture about. It's the psychological ramifications of what our people have gone through. Black people want to look white, act white, even in business. I hear black folks saying now, oh, it's just business. The fuck if it is. It ain't never just been business with African. If you are wrong, just because white people say that you are not wrong, you fucking wrong. And we are spiritual people, so that's what I was telling the white folks. Like, man, are y'all crazy, dude? You sit up here and you talk to us like you better than us when you put us in this situation. I just happen to be one of the few black men who can articulate themselves well. That's the reason why women have such a one-up on men, is because they're not physical, so they have to be cerebral, and they're better at articulating their feelings. So they could just say shit like, I fuck your friend, or you can't fuck her, you got a little dick, motherfucker. And then all of that smart shit in us go all the way out the door. And then the fact that we can't say something like, well, that's cool because I just fucked your friend. Like, we can't say quips like that. We get mad. You feel what I'm saying? So like me, I've been able, and I thank God for this. The one thing that I'm so grateful for is to be able to articulate pain now. And that's more on the David Banner side, and I know you work into that. That I can articulate our pain without me getting angry. And I think that was the first time I was able to see that. And similar to Southern, I out-debated Congress. And people will never give me that kind of credit. They will never outright say that, but I did. So much so, and I know because y'all work with cameras, when I try to explain this to people, they don't understand it. Okay, when you're shooting on a camera, right, they usually have a tight shot of you, right? You're in Congress and you're talking to me, right? Then they flip it, and then they had a tight shot on me, right? But what you don't see is the wide shot. If they would have shown the wide shot, before they knew that I was smart, it was full of all of the Congress members on our motherfucking ass. And when I started busting their ass, they got up and left. And if you go back and look at it, I say it. I say, this is the reason why your kids don't listen to you. When we have a point, you leave. So you really didn't want to hear, because you thought we were some dumbass rappers. You really didn't come here to hear the truth. What you really came here to do is chastise us. Oh, fuck no. I got on their ass. Because one dude said, are you going to do better? Are you going to do better? No, you ain't going to make me do nothing. I ain't no child now. And I make more money than you. Hold up. I told him, I was like, dude, what I will say is that if you want me to rap about roses, come to the fucking hood and plant some. Bust their ass, dog. And then went back and got high and went to the strip club or some shit. During that time, I don't really do that now, but during that time. And just let me say something, because, man, I'm way, I was only supposed to be here 20 minutes, but I really like y'all spirit, bro. So hopefully I can get y'all something to work with. Because I'd never done this before, so I think it's dope. I used to really be embarrassed of the old David Banner, but I realized without him, it wouldn't be me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful, because even to this day, if somebody fuck with me, I got them pistols. Somebody fuck with me, I can fight. You know, if I need to pull, because life is really not about a definite good or bad, it's really about balance. So at one time in my life, I had become too meditative. I had lost my personality. I wasn't fun to be around if it wasn't about knowledge or books. Like, I really didn't want to be a part of that shit. And then I realized, like, you know, and I met my mentor here, Mr. Moody, and he gets that guap. And he's fun, though. Like, he still laugh. He's a Q. He get out there and stomp with the little boys, and all that kind of shit. But when it come to business, he like a Buddhist monk in this motherfucker. And I realized, man, because I had stopped cursing and everything, but I realized, man, God is everything. We like to pigeonhole what we think God is. But God is everything, good, bad, or indifferent. God is good evil, and everything in the middle. Everything. God created all the concepts of them both. And in actuality, there is no definite good or bad, because if you look at Malcolm, we thought he was a god. White folks thought he was a demon. If you look at most medicines that you need, you'll take that medicine, and as soon as you're cured, if you take that same pill, it might kill you. So it depends where you are, and how you're vibrating at the time. And I can honestly say, I am now grateful to all of those steps in my journey. I just don't allow some of the things that I used to, because I give you a quick example so we can finish up. I lived in Atlanta for 10 years. And most of my time was in the studio, was in strokers, or smoking or whatever. And then I moved to LA, learned meditation and therapy, and spent about 6 years in LA, between LA and New York. And I moved back to Atlanta. And now my life in Atlanta is totally different because I think a different way. I vibrate a different way. So like, I never stopped fucking with my old homeboys, but I don't see them no more because I don't do that shit no more. And people would always ask me, Banner, why you not around? I said, it's not that I'm not around, but I said, if you ate healthy and you would be shopping at 7 Under or somewhere like that, I would bump into you all the time. Like, I still come, I still come out, on the west side. I still come to the southwest side, but I'm in Madu bookstore trying to buy some books. So if you was anywhere around there, I'm still in the same places, but now I'm vibrating on a different level. And now Atlanta is something different to me. It's not a place where I'm spending a lot of money. I'm making a lot of money. You feel what I'm saying? Because my demands of myself and of the people who are around me are different now. You know what I'm saying? And this something happened to me, bro, and I never told nobody this on camera, but it was so dope. I just played in the Snoop Dogg basketball game on the west side, and he had a studio set up, and there was some girls in the studio smoking. They getting high as fuck. And I walk in, and the girl puts a blunt out. Now, you know how black folks are with smoking their weed. She said one of the things, bro, it made me feel so fucking good, bro. She said, I respect you so much, I don't even feel right smoking around you. Ugh. Never thought about it. Sometimes you can become something for people and they depend on you. Not that it's your responsibility, but I think where I am today, people shouldn't see me in certain situations, even though I still do some of it. When it's in the privacy of the dungeon, a lot of people come to the dungeon, but they don't make it out. You know what I'm talking about? But man, she said that and she meant it, dog. Like she didn't even want, she put it behind her back. And she's like, I love the way that you fight for our people. I love what you stand for so much. I don't even want you to see me like this. And I told her, it's cool. I smoke every now and then, not much, and, keep it moving every now and then, just try to reach that upper level sometime. But it doesn't dictate my life anymore, man. And I do want to say this. I'm doing a lot of stuff, and I'm doing it for the city of Atlanta. I'm about to do a TV show. And I really believe that these people were trying to pay me to do this television show in either New York or LA because their studios are there. I pull back and I'm paying for the TV show myself because I want to shoot it in Atlanta. I really believe not just Southern people, but so many people from all around the world have used Atlanta and done things here that they could have never done in their home place, but they don't give the proper respect to the city. You know what I'm saying? I owe Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I owe Atlanta a lot. Atlanta was even so gracious to me that it allowed me to say I was from Mississippi, because so many people say they from Atlanta, but they. And I also believe it was because how much I respected the city too, that Atlanta allowed me and was happy for them. Tip and Bone Crusher, Jeezy, all of them, they were proud to see me push Mississippi. And I really believe that they wanted to see the people of Mississippi do well. You know what I'm saying? So Atlanta allowed me to come into their city and then they gave me an open path. So I really believe that I want to help Atlanta get the respect, because we're dealing with a company right now, and I fucked them white boys up. I said, do your statistics. Check your books. Besides Nashville, Atlanta influences and is number one influence, or the number one influence of every type of music but country music. All right, last year, where most of the major movies shot at? Right fucking here. So it's cool that you want to go to all these different cities because they, more flashy or whatever the fuck. But where is the true influence? Most of your money needs to be in Atlanta. And there needs to be someone that's from the South that's willing to say that. I believe that we're too fucking nice, dude. You know what I'm saying? One thing that I can say, you get a motherfucker that's from Brooklyn, you can't tell him shit about New York. Go get a motherfucker from Compton. You can't tell him shit about LA. A motherfucker shouldn't be able to tell us shit about the South. If you don't like it, take your funky ass somewhere else, period. And that, again, is the old David Banner going Mississippi. Yeah. But just through, see how we just brought it back? That was so motherfucking dope. I didn't even try to do that. I had to, yeah. So just in saying that, bro, like, I think that's really, really important, man, because man, Atlanta has loved me in a way, bro, that, just the people of Atlanta, if you think, from Rubber Band Man and Tip, what that did for my production, my mentor is from here. Like when I was, I guess we'll tell the rest of the story and then finish. Like when, bro, I was so depressed that I could barely move. When I came back from LA, I was broken. Just mentally, spiritually, and physically, man. I had done so much. And I like to say this, and then I'll let you finish leading out. Sometimes when we look at our contemporaries, because like me as a rapper, I knew that I wasn't doing 70% of what my other rap partners were doing. But for my spirit and the way that I was raised, I was doing way too much. You know what I'm saying? So most people be like, well, Banner, you wasn't out here doing this, you wasn't doing that. Well, I wasn't meant to do none of that shit for the way that I was raised. And I think the depth of my spirit, I think I was put here to do something a little bit different than the average person. I think we all have the ability to be that person, but some people are predetermined in some cases, because I don't really believe in faith. But just like some people are taller, like Steph Curry wasn't necessarily built for basketball, but he worked hard enough to make that shit level out, So go ahead, bro.
We almost through the journey. We're still in 2007, because in 2007 your father passed. What type of impact did that have on you at that time when you was, medicating and, depressed?
Yeah, y'all, it's your boy Philadelphia Freeway, and you tuned in to King's Court with my man DJ Hustle.
Yo, this your boy Trick Daddy Dollars, and I'm in King Court with my dog DJ Hunt.